welcome back to It's Girl Time. In today's video, we are going to be talking about alone time and the importance of spending time alone. So learning to be alone was something that was difficult for me to do because my family is very close, and growing up I was just always around people, I have grown up to be a very social person, and so it was really weird to me have to go do things by myself because it's something I wasn't used to at all. There was just always someone there. And when I moved to New York, that was the first time that I was ever alone. And the process of learning how to enjoy doing things by myself was a long one. I'm not gonna lie. It took me a sec to be able to feel happiness by myself, because for me it's I want to share that happiness with the people that I love. And so it's weird for me when I don't have anyone to share that with, right next to me in that moment, obviously afterwards I'll tell my friends or my parents or whatever about what it was that made me really happy. But it's really, it was, because it's not weird to me anymore, but it used to be very strange to me to have to do that. And for me, it was a process of figuring out what things made me happy, going for a walk or going to take, a dance class, or going to a park, going to Target. But whatever activity that made me happy, going to the movies, that's another one, so that I could just go alone and not have to wait for company in order to then go do those things. And that was, it took me a minute, like I said, to be okay with that, to get around the idea of I don't need to go do an activity with someone in order to be happy. I can go do it by myself and be just as happy. So for me, it was about exploring hobbies and just pushing myself to just go out there and do it, even if I was doing it alone. Kind of have that courage or bravery in a way of not getting scared of doing things alone. Because I do have to say, in the beginning, it was a little bit scary for me to do things by myself. And it felt lonely to do things by myself because I was not used to it at all, Now it's cool, I don't really care. For example, I love training and going to the gym. And I go to the gym by myself, and now I actually love the fact that I have this space that I go to by myself, and it's just me, and I get to meet new people and create new experiences for myself and just have fun without having to depend on somebody else to have that fun moment with, To me, to be honest, being alone or doing things by myself was like directly related to feeling lonely. And I feel like, to me, part of the reason why it was so hard in the beginning to like learn how to love to be alone was because I had to like detach those two things, you know, like just because you're doing something alone doesn't mean that you're lonely. At first, when I was in New York, something I really loved doing was going to like Washington Square Park or just like any park and just sit there and just like enjoy the nice day. I would sometimes like buy myself a hot chocolate or something on like a nearby cafe. And it was nice. You know, I remember in Washington Square Park, there used to be this jazz band that would always play on the weekends. And I would go and like sit near them and just like listen to the music and chill. The happiness that brought me, being able to just listen to music that I really liked by myself, was one of the first things that kind of made click in my head, like, oh, this is nice, you know, like this isn't a bad thing. But I would say that finding hobbies that you really enjoy doing and that bring you happiness is like key to, at least for me, that was key to finding happiness and doing things by myself. But to me, feeling lonely was half about feeling like I didn't have anybody, even though I know I did. But half was also kind of like feeling that no one's got me. You know what I mean? Like, you spend all your time like giving to other people and being there for other people, and sometimes you just feel like no one's gonna be there for you. That's a lie. I know, like, I'm very blessed to have the people that I do in my life right now. So I feel like my biggest advice in this like topic is that you have to get over the fact that doing something alone, like by yourself, doesn't mean that you are alone in like life. I feel like it's really important to learn how to be alone and like to learn that you are going to be okay and that, you know, nothing's gonna go wrong just because you don't have people around 24/7. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes you need that like escape and that freedom to be and do whatever you want within reason, to then be able to like not lose yourself. I feel like sometimes when you spend too much time with people, you don't really get to like decompress, if that makes sense. Because I feel like for me, the best thing I love now about doing things by myself is that obviously when you go do something alone, you know, especially when it's something new, like people don't know you, right? So you don't have to fit into anyone's mold of their version of you. I also feel like when you learn to be by yourself, you also learn a lot about yourself. And it can be a really fun, like, self-discovery kind of exercise, if you will, to go do things by yourself and kind of having the courage to get out of like your comfort zone, right? Because I feel like that's what it's really like about. It's just comfortable and it feels more secure to go do things with other people, especially if it's like people that you know, because that way if something happens, they're there. But when you go out by yourself, you're like, oh, it's just me now. And it can be scary. At least for me it was in the beginning, until I kind of learned how to say like, F it, let's just do it. And then I was able to just go through the motions. And now I don't have to push myself to want to be alone, because I just naturally incorporate things that I do like by myself, for myself, within my routine. I feel like for me, learning to be alone was also really difficult because I'm a very social person. And now, for example, I think that because I'm a social person, it's fun to go do things by myself because it pushes me to be even more extroverted and like talk to people. And you meet so many people, and people for the most part are nicer than what you think they're gonna be. Not everybody, but most. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I don't know what's up with my eyes today. They're very like teary, but continuing with our topic, I had to redefine what being alone meant for me in order to be happy being alone. Because before, it was attached to negative things, and it had like a negative connotation to be alone in my head. Now it means like time for self-discovery, time for myself to enjoy the things that I want to enjoy without having to like pay attention to like this other person and the activity. It's just about me and the activity. And I don't mean that in like a selfish way, although I would argue that very few times, but still, sometimes in life you do have to be a little bit selfish and kind of like invest in yourself and think about yourself, because going back to one of my previous videos, no one's gonna do it for you, And I feel like when you allow yourself to be happy with whatever it is that you're doing, regardless of who is around you, is one of the best feelings. It's just freeing, I feel like there's a lot of freedom in being alone, because you don't have to go by anybody else's playbook. And I mean, you never have to go by anybody else's playbook, but obviously when there's like other people involved in the picture, you do have to take their playbook into consideration, because it's not just you anymore. So the last thing that I want to share with you guys about being alone and spending time by yourself is to pour the same amount of excitement and attention and like positivity into doing things by yourself than you would doing things with other people. Just because you do something by yourself doesn't mean it can't be fun, doesn't mean it can't be exciting, doesn't mean that it won't be a good time, I feel like a lot of it depends on you to believe that it will be a good time, that it will be a fun time, that it's totally cool to do things by yourself and not need anyone around you to do it, So I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of it just really depends on you and the definition that you give things, because at least that was really like the bottom line for me. It was that I used to define being alone and doing things alone as a negative thing, when in reality it's a totally positive thing. And so once I was able to kind of like flip that, now I love it. And I invite you guys to find things that you love doing that bring you a lot of happiness, and to do them by yourself, you know, without having to rely on anybody being there in order to do them and to be happy doing them. So, as always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for future content. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you in my next one.